This video is sponsored by War Thunder. I am the god, Huitzilopochtli? Yes, him. This prophecy you saw will come to pass if nothing changes. Well, how do I stop it? Sifu, the young cat boy, is your only hope. Is that it? No, I have a guy for this. For your crimes against humanity. Which one? All of them. Pinned comment. You will be forced to prevent this disaster from coming to pass. That should be easy. I've seen this with only a scout. No, stop. In Civ 6, the Scout is the weakest unit you can build with just 5 combat strength. On the other end of the spectrum is the giant death robot with an impressive 130. And today I'm going to be taking my Scout and making it stronger than a GDR in an effort to defeat one in combat. To up the stakes, I'll add another rule to the challenge. If I lose my Scout in any way, then I will immediately lose right then and there. Smash that like button and sit back as you watch me coach Carter, an underprivileged teen. As we settle our capital, we have to move fast, producing our 3 scouts, and if we lose one, then we can't use corps and armies, which will come up later. While we wait for Sifu to sharpen his stick, you might be asking, why not explore with our eagle and find tribal villages, barbs, or even some hoes? Well, this loitering isn't because I'm scared to talk to women. This time. We have a mod enabled for this challenge. 2, in fact. The first gives every scout 1 XP for every 65 tiles they discover, and we need that experience to get to the promotion that makes everything possible. And with the preparations made, the unit that all our hopes and prayers lie on, a scout named Sifu is called upon to adventure across the unknown, and obtain the experience to become strong enough to prevent the destruction Montezuma had dreamt, replacing those nightmares with dreams. Dreams of War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made and is available for free on PC and consoles. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations ranging from biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Immerse yourself in the intense combat of War Thunder, where incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. Engage in epic PvP battles with over 70 million players today and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover, there's no game better suited for fans of military history, where you have your choice of 3 distinct game modes from arcade to the complete realism of simulator mode. However you choose to play, you'll find it, and require nothing but your mouse and keyboard or controller to drive any vehicle you wish. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox using my link in the pinned comment or video description to sign up, where new players and those who haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack on PC or consoles that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. Only available for a limited time, so don't miss it. Sifu began his journey, searching the world for anything that could help him get stronger and save his home. But on his journey he faced some difficulties, stumbling upon a barb camp that he now had to face. Fuck that! That's a problem for your future self to handle. Sifu's journey wasn't just for his power level, of course. He was looking for anything that could help his tribe, discovering a relic of an ancient people that was sure to impress the folks back home, as he had no idea how monumental that discovery would be. But as he would soon discover, his people were not the only ones inhabiting this landmass, and as the first representative of the Aztec people, it took all the will in his body to not get down on all fours and start inhaling her throne. While Sifu tries his best not to ruin his people's image, the relic he discovered finally reached the people back home. And mystified by its mystical powers, the people were adamant on going out into the unknown themselves and spreading Aztec civilization. And as their faith grew, so did their belief that there was a superior being out there. And holy sites were constructed to begin organizing who and what this deity exactly was. Wait, don't you already have a god? I swear you called him Haktua or something. I was having some trouble giving me a name, so I just guessed. The second settlement the pioneers set out to build was even more zealous, as they were sure the massive mountain surrounding the holy site was the god's Olympus. Soon after this religiosity began, representatives from the King of Poland appeared and gave them a status report on Sifu's journey. After spending months tagging in with Jadwiga's workout regiment, he set off to put those new skills to use, raiding a temple, and through this trial he realized that his jumping, climbing, and running skills had drastically improved, to the point where he was a natural at alpine exploration. However, despite his peak physical skills, it wouldn't be long until Sifu would have to face the facts. Running and jumping wasn't enough, unless you're Giannis. In order to deal with the monster and Monty's dreams, he would have to put his body to use, and after reading the letter from the mysterious stranger, he was finally ready to face his biggest fear. And as the warrior launched itself at Sifu, he was able to hold them off by fortifying an advantageous position. With how they kept charging through, Sifu thought they were from Texas at first, but soon realized that they were just stupid. You may have noticed during that battle, despite already possessing a promotion, Sifu was getting experience. That's thanks to the second mod that uncaps Barb experience to make things easier for me, which seems to have worked as Sifu was feeling more confident after his victory, feeling that he could conquer the world, and deciding that he needed to do more, to cut this tribe off at the source, advancing on their encampment. And the last time I got violated this hard was when my uncle was babysitting me. As he retreated to lick his wounds and rethink his strategy, he was surprised at the order that came from back home. Hey, it's future self here. With our third city, we need all hands on deck to destroy the camp you left open. But, in fact, the reason he was called back wasn't just for that singular encampment. Barbarians had the Aztecs surrounded on all sides. It was only a matter of time before they completely overran the nation, and it was up to Sifu to save the day. But until then, the Eagle Regiment was enough and succeeded in taking out the entrenched spearmen, but surprisingly enough, didn't kill the camp, as Sifu soon appeared after his thunderous thighs carried him here at light speed to deal with the encampment himself. But that stalling may have been a mistake. You see, this could hardly be called a golden age with all the barbarians prowling the lands, and so faith couldn't be used to convince people to pack up and settle across the continent. But the good news is, an exodus of the evangelist would be more than enough to guarantee a golden age in the next era, as long as they could found a religion from their holy sites. And to ensure their stability, the barbarians had to be nipped at the source. And after being sent out to charter the East, Sifu's newfound experience increased his survivability in combat, as he learned to execute hit-and-run tactics through guerrilla warfare. But he was about to see a much stronger power boost that would make even the weakest of scouts comparable to a swordsman. One of our diplomats to the Polish kingdom had returned with a premonition, and through that he was able to mobilize the masses around one guiding message. Those thighs are so thick, they have to be holy, as the core tenets of that belief were the reliquaries to honor the relic that started it all, and a call to arms, to free our brave brethren stuck in enemy lands by giving a 10 combat strength boost through crusade. And while Sifu wasn't going to benefit from the call of a crusade against barbarians, he was a crusader at heart, and moved in to deal with the barbarian threat once and for all. Despite being outnumbered, he was able to hold his own, as all his past experiences led to a eureka that changed everything. Through ambushing out of his guerrilla tactics, he was able to drastically increase his fighting capabilities, as it was no longer the barbs raiding us, but us raiding the barbs. With the barbarian invasion thwarted once and for all, in no small part due to the bravery and skill of Sifu and his cat, he was hailed as a hero, as all his skills through adventuring is ultimately what saved the Aztec Empire from disaster, but also what galvanized their people. The Aztecs realized that their previous culture of subsistence farming and throwing their kids into volcanoes was ill-equipped to deal with the threats of the world, especially if the mighty Polish kingdom was to turn hostile and invade them with a real army, an army that the diplomats claimed they had. And so a decision was made. The Aztecs needed to expand and create an empire of their own, and the key to that would be their meeting of a secret society. The Void Singers had long since taken taken an interest in the Aztecs, and decided to help them by further organizing their warship through the old gods in an effort to galvanize colonization efforts throughout the continent. But as the restructuring of the civic code was occurring, I realized something. Oligarchy doesn't work on scouts. This is gonna be hard. I decide to take my anger out by ordering Sifu to kill the inhabitants, pillage the camp, and then kill the inhabitants again. This repetition of every other game causes Hak Tua to intervene, ordering me to burn all my units to stop the inevitable world conquest. And I told him I'd get right on that, but I first had to give Sifu a medal, but I couldn't find him. To continue his training, Sifu would now move south and investigate a suspiciously narrow mountain range near Mount Olympus. But the problem was a barb camp was blocking off the pass. But Sifu wasn't the only scout on an adventure. His stories had inspired other brave units to venture out into the unknown. With all the skill of a Greek finance minister, this is bad. If I lose even a single scout, I can't make an army. And so I quickly dispatch an eagle warrior, but it was too late. He wouldn't get there in time. And with no other choice but to attempt escape, he was hunted down by a barbarian warrior and managed to survive. Retreating back to home territory, I think it might be best for Sifu to train the other scouts, but he was dealing in a fight of his own. You see, it wasn't just a spearman he was fighting. A heavily armored man-at-arms was in his way, but after offering reinforcements, Sifu sent back a message reassuring us of his victory. With that problem dealt with, it was now time for me to pee on the gods or whatever, so into the volcano they all go, I guess, hiring a soothsayer to do the job. But I should have been buying apostles, as I miss the golden age. This was a critical mistake, as people would no longer be willing to go out into the wild in the numbers we need. We would have to be more careful next time, as we can take Exodus once again. But our faith generation isn't going to be going to waste despite the normal age, because we now advance a level in the secret society, as their course allows our faith to galvanize science and societal development. Development that will prove crucial for this challenge. Oh wait, why did my faith just go down? So, I'm gonna need some help. We need that soothsayer promotion, and fast. By appeasing the gods, we can gain promotions to those soothsayers, with one of them being a +5 combat strength boost to nearby units. After a quick test, with a gender reveal party near some bananas, yeah, the capital's on fire. Just in case we decide to create a new capital near Poland, since Petra cities always seem to be stronger than a capital in most games. But to ensure our southern flank's protection from barbarians, it's time we move in Sifu to deal with the man-at-arms. But without the soothsayer, he would have to do this alone. And he had just the plan, barely holding on as the man-at-arms attempted to force his way through his fortifications. But armed with nothing but his staff, he was able to hold on. And just as the deadlock was reaching its climax, the archers came in, forcing the man-at-arms to deatomize. As another one made its appearance, we desperately need more combat strength, but how are we going to get it? Monty, do you have any ideas? Have you tried diamonds? What? The Aztec unique ability gives combat strength for every luxury worked, and with that extra boost, our ambush-boosted scout sees a power level surge, and obliterated the man-at-arms so hard I started having flashbacks of my uncle. Nothing could stop. Retreat! It would be a while until we could deal with those units. But back home, preparations had to continue, as we were about halfway through until the foretold disaster would come to pass. And one of the biggest things we could do to prepare was sucking on Jadwiga's fat friendship bracelet. Now, I would normally just get down on my knees and start slobbering, but a misogynist online who's trying to get me to pay $5,000 for a course told me to stop chasing the hoes until they start chasing me. It doesn't make too much sense since I'm faster than any woman I've ever hunted down, but okay.
Can we establish an embassy in your capital?
Close enough. A military alliance gives 5 combat strength to all units you're at war with, except barbarians, so we're on our own here. But the good news is Sifu got barebacked by barbs for a good cause. I'm starting to feel like a pimp. But this incredible military display from a man with a stick in his cat had Jadwiga very impressed, and willing to ally with such a marvelous military power. On the way back from negotiations, we oversee colonization efforts, knowing we had to speed this up if we wanted the techs that would allow Sifu to handle the challenge before him. But when we return home with nothing but the sweet dreams of Jadwiga in our right hand to keep us company, Would you look at that? Behind the Barbarian camp was a new continent with every resource in the game. We sure are lucky. And to be expected of Civ Lifer subscribers, of course, but lucky nonetheless. And after exploring the island, we say bye to our giant death robot, as even he wouldn't be enough to save us from what was about to happen. You know, I hate apocalypse mode, but for the soothsayer, it's worth it. At the very least, with the southern camp finally explored, Sifu could now come home and begin training his disciples, who he would surely need when the time came. And with the safety from barbarians now being a thing of the past, we were close to a golden age for our people, patronaging the services of a merchant, even though he wasn't the one we sought after. But still, he allowed us to finally make use of monumentality and purchase settlers and builders through faith. Speaking of which, we set some aside for soothsayers, as it was finally time to appease the gods, restructuring to a theocracy to obtain the religious fervor we need for soothsayers, which don't even work. Well, let's try to burn the unit anyways. I don't think this is supposed to be what we do. Well, we had all the time and faith to try with more soothsayers, and have enough left over to settle all the cities we need, like the luxury island, as we begin to get all that combat strength. As for our previous resettlement projects, why did I even build that? It's a good thing we don't need that to be our capital and could focus north, where there is one more city we need to complete our colonization plans. As my advisors urgently informed me that we had to be near a volcano to sacrifice units, and that there were no volcanoes near us, I decided that Sifu had more work to do. But the issue was he was training the disciples, so we take this as an opportunity for one of them to get some field experience. And as he starts his own journey looking to build upon what Sifu did, he makes great progress, meeting Amenitor and Ludwig, and as he was making overtures to these new empires, we finally settled the last city up north and obtained the last luxury we needed, caviar. As our other luxuries were finally connected to our empire, we were rocking an impressive extra 30 combat strength, just in time as our monumentality reaches its end with the industrial era Dark Age. But that wasn't the last golden age our people would experience, and the first step to that is Sifu and his disciple organizing into a well-coordinated fighting force. This gave plenty of era score, but to get more we evangelized our religion twice despite only needing one ability. World Church, which provides culture, the only yield we still require at this point. But aside from the civic tree, our last combat bonuses come from finding a volcano, of course. And as our disciple returns home with the entirety of the map revealed, there are none. I mean, that's great for Pompeii and all, but without a volcano, we can't get 5 combat strength. This hurts bad, as we would be that much weaker when the disaster inevitably occurs. And with how slim the margins are, I don't even think we can win without the soothsayer. But hey, I sure am thankful I put it on apocalypse mode, causing sandstorms to travel across grasslands, all for the soothsayers I can't even use. But despite that, the challenge was almost upon us, as it was finally time for Sifu to deal with the disaster. And to give him the best chance we can get, we need to race down the civic tree as quickly as possible. But before we do that, we first have to make use of one of our oldest abilities, Crusade, hiring some apostles to spread the word to Yadwiga's cities. But we need to be careful with our proselytizing. If we spread too quickly, then we won't be able to make use of the policy, Wars of Religion, giving us 4 combat strength against civs that founded a different religion and had it as a majority in their cities. Half will be converted as we leave the other half under Catholicism. Well, it's a weird choice for Poland, but I'm sure it'll be okay. Finally, the only thing we need is the rest of our civics. But to boost nationalism, it was finally time to unveil our army. And to do that, we need to create 2 more corps, as we finally research nationalism and modernize our tactics. And with only fascism and democracy left, I was feeling hopeful, until I realized War of Religion only works when you are against someone who founded a religion. Poland doesn't have a religion. Oh, would you look at that? The Germans, who founded a religion, have had a GDR and multiple modern artillery pieces and tanks spawn in. Surely they sweep now, right? As for us, without the ravages of modern warfare to handle, we make it to the heroic age and send a spy to the Germans in anticipation of their victor. What do you mean they made peace? At least our civics are coming in, with fascism and its 5 combat strength for all units, leaving only democracy to go. But in between our research, there are still 2 key factors we need to achieve. The first is the Great Merchant I talked about earlier. The extra Diplo visibility is key, as every level advantage you get 3 combat strength. And with top secret access to Yadwiga, the best we can go for, democracy finally comes in. As we plug in fascism's policy card to keep 5 combat strength and plug in democracy's unique card, their finest hour for another 4. But even after all that, Poland, well, they didn't exactly appreciate me supporting their enemy. And so we have to change preparations from Germany to Poland, starting with a military alliance with Germany, as I only allied Poland because I was Stalin and didn't want them to invade me first. With our newfound alliance, our spy could no longer be in Germany, as Poland is now where a listening post is needed. But she was anticipating our betrayal, and moves in her experimental GDR she took off Ludwig in the Peace Deal to stop me. This was it. With such a strong unit, our army had no hope of touching. This had to be the monster Monty saw in his dreams all those years ago. And so we move in our forces, led by Sifu and the army under his command, surrounding the beast, and only 98 combat strength. This was not looking good. Somehow we had to make up 32 combat strength, but how? Falling back to more defensible terrain and allowing them to take control of our city had to be it. If he came at Sifu and his patented fortifications that worked so well before, he would surely be neutralized. And so Sifu was left surviving dive bombers pounding his fortifications, while I tagged into Poland. Unfortunately, Monty isn't exactly a military genius, as the AI just moved its units out of position. Surely he can't move Sifu off this tile now. And just as I expected, everything was in position. And as the GDR attacked, I realized the fatal flaw in my strategy. The Aztec luxury bonus is only available on the offense. My last hope was tagging back and looking to totally flank, but for some reason, flanking bonus wasn't working. Wait, he's suffering from a resource penalty? We are so close, but despite that, we had nothing else we could do. It's not as if we could speedrun gains through DHT. Oh yeah, National Socialism and genocide is fine, but unfortunately unsportsmanlike behavior is where Firaxis draws the line. And with the disaster looming, it was all looking hopeless, as I was wishing we had the soothsayer and war of religion policy that slipped from our grasp. Enough about me romanticizing a higher IQ, as my current level was enough to realize flanking isn't working because they're in the ocean. So I get to geolizing, eventually moving my units around and finally obtaining 115 combat strength to the robots 114. And after some softening up from conventional forces, Master Sifu comes in with his should-be 127 combat strength and just atomizes the monster, saving his people and succeeding in our challenge of making a scout stronger than a GDR. Special thanks once again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Sign up using the link in the description to get a massive bonus pack, multiple premium vehicles, and the Eagle of Valor. Not to mention 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account.